Bonjour tout le monde. Jodia c'est vendredi. Il disait, et puis tapo conversation a kabawea. Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, 10 a.m., and it is time for Rum Shop Talk. And it is windy today, you guys. It rained yesterday, thunder and lightning last night, and we have not had any of that in a very long time. And this morning it is just super windy. So we're going to try to do our best. Hopefully the audio is not messed up with the wind. So today we will be making you guys a spiced peach daiquiri, and the cat just leapt onto the table, which is why the camera got all shaky. The wind's got her acting like a nut this morning, you guys. So yeah, like I said, we will be making a spiced peach daiquiri, and we will be talking about, so for our legal portion, we'll be doing a Mythbuster, and really kind of diving into the idea of I have a simple estate, which is something I heard a couple of times in the last 2 weeks with clients coming in, and I figured I wanted to address it because from that thought of I have a simple estate goes, then I'm just going to go do it online. And so I wanted to kind of address that. And so stay tuned for that. But right now we will jump in and do our spiced peach daiquiri. And that recipe, actually, I found it on the Chairman's Instagram. Yeah, so Chairman's Rum has an Instagram where they have stuff about their rums, but they also have recipes on there. So I went on there, and it looks like this one was actually contributed by @Liquid Culture. I want to make sure I give credit to the recipe because it's not my own. But we'll be trying that out for you guys today. So first, we are going to get started. We are going to use a peach, and it is summertime, but it is so rare when I go to the grocery store or I actually get a peach that is like ripe. So I actually bought this on Monday so that by today it would be like, ripe and juicy. We're going to be using 1/4 of that peach. Here, I want to make sure I get all that, the seed, because the seed actually broke. And we're just going to slice that. Right here. And we're going to add it to our shaker. So the first thing we're going to do is actually muddle the peaches because we want to get all the juices and get that mush up in there. I've got my little trusty muddler from Bacardi Mojitos. And that looks nice and mushed here. Next, we're going to add the remaining ingredients. So our remaining ingredients for this is 1.5 ounces of Chairman's Reserve. Yes, I love to smell my rum. It's as if I forget what they smell like. So we've got that. Next, we have 1/4 of our peach. Next, we're going to do 1/3 ounce of pineapple juice. I'm realizing that every time I open one of those cans and I make a drink, I'm like left with the can. So I'm gonna have to start figuring out how to reuse those drinks. I don't get just waste them. 1/3. So we have an ounce shot here. So 1/3 of that in here. Then 1 ounce of lime juice, which I have freshly squeezed lime juice right here. There. And then 1 ounce of Demerara syrup. So I actually got Demerara sugar. It's like a brown sugar, big crystals. I actually got it from the grocery store. Hey, Vil, good morning. And made some Demerara syrup for you guys. I was reading about it, and the mixologists, they like to use the Demerara syrup because it just gives a much richer base for your drink. And so they use it a lot in cocktails. So of course, I gotta try to be authentic. I was very happy to be able to get it from the grocery store. And I wonder if it's a sweet. It's not as sweet. It actually tastes like molasses a little bit. So it's a pretty interesting taste than just regular brown sugar. So if you can find Demerara sugar, I definitely recommend that you try and use that. All right, we've got all our ingredients in here. Next, we're going to add some ice and then we're going to shake that up and we're going to serve it in a martini glass. It asks for a coupe. I don't have a coupe. The closest I have to a coupe is a martini glass, so that's what we're using today. So I'm going to top that off here with some ice. We're going to shake it for at least 30 seconds. I'm trying to like follow the recipe to the T. I gotta like the mixologist, like, you know, get all up in here, get my arm workout, shake, shake, shake. You know, after doing all of those rum shots, I realized why bartenders have like, you know, such strong muscles. It's doing this like all evening long. That's like such a great arm workout. All right, this thing has got to be like, you know, completely at this point. Oops. Mixed. All right, so we've got a strainer here on our shaker, but I'm also going to use this because it requires you to like double strain it. So I don't know if this thing is actually going to do anything. Ooh, we got to shake to get it all out of there. Oh, this is such a beautiful color. Ooh. I'm like working against the peach and the ice in here to get as much of this drink out as possible. There we go. This looks beautiful. I'm excited to try it, and I'll let you guys know what we're working with today. Pop this out here. Pop this back in here. Yes, I'm cleaning while I do this. Gotta keep a clean workstation, you guys. All right. And because I want to be pretty and fancy, I'm going to actually like just garnish with a slice of peach just for prettiness. Not necessary. But there we go. Make sure it sticks. Voila, a spiced peach daiquiri. And the reason why it's called spiced is because the chairman rum, even if it's not spiced, tends to have a spicy kind of quality to it. So that's why it's called spiced. Now I'm going to try our spiced peach daiquiri and see what it tastes like. Yes, yes, yes. It is tart, sweet, but not too sweet, which is how I like my cocktails. It's fresh. I love that all of the ingredients in here is like fresh ingredients. It's so refreshing. I'm going to have another sip and then we'll jump into our Mythbuster. Yes. I think I'm actually going to end up using that whole can of pineapple juice today, making us daiquiris. It is Friday after all. All right, I'm going to scoot this back over here and jump into our Mythbuster. So, like I mentioned, for our legal portion of today, we'll be doing a Mythbuster. And the one that I chose was I have a simple estate, therefore I can DIY it. I can DIY my estate plan. And like I mentioned, the reason why I chose this is because I have heard it so many times this past couple of weeks, and I have heard it a lot during my career doing estate planning. And what ends up happening is the clients come in, I have a simple estate. By the time they walk out, they're like, wait, that was not as simple as I thought. So I figured I would take the typical family that comes into my office. You can basically cherry pick and go to any part of the country and find a family that looks just like this on the surface and show you why the thought of I have a simple estate is not exactly true. So we're going to take a husband and wife. They're married. They've got 2 kids. And their estate plan essentially is they want the kids to inherit equally. That sounds simple. It does. And it sounds like almost any family that I know of, you know, give or take a couple of kids. but almost every nuclear family looks like that, right? Why would that family not be simple and therefore should not go ahead and DIY their estate plan? It comes in with the details. So you have heard the phrase, the devil is in the details. So let's dive into the details. I would make this not be so easy and why a person shouldn't DIY their own estate plan. Okay, so one of the questions that I typically ask is the composition of the client's assets. That will change according to family. Every family's asset structure is going to be different. You know, my particular family that I'm choosing, they've got a house with a mortgage. So that means that there's debt in the estate that we need to account for. They've got a couple of retirement accounts. My question with that will be, okay, so how much money do you have in a retirement account, and how much of your estate, percentage wise, is your retirement accounts? There are laws that actually speak on retirement accounts that will factor into how we structure an estate plan where a client has a sizable retirement. So I had a consultation yesterday. My client, my prospective client, half of their estate, half of a $6 million estate, was retirement accounts, which means we're working with retirement accounts of about $2 to $3 million. With the Secure Act, where a person has to pay, take out the retirement within 10 years and pay taxes on it, that will be a lot of taxes that the family will have to pay over 10 years when they pass away. Okay, so that is something that we need to consider. Already, I bet you're thinking, this is not a lot easy, right? It's not. And I just asked you two questions. Okay, they've got checking and savings accounts. We want to know how much is in there because we want to figure out how we're going to approach that, right? Next thing that we're going to talk about, your kids. They've got two kids. How old are the kids? Are the kids minors? Okay, if we've got minor kids, how old are our minor kids? What are we working with? Are there any special needs considerations that we need to plan for? Maybe, maybe not. What about, what are your kids like? Are they responsible, irresponsible? Are we looking to do an outright distribution? Here's why an outright distribution wouldn't be preferable, especially if you have irresponsible kids. You don't want to give a 20-year-old a chunk of money if they're all just going to spend it on silly things. I have actually seen adults inherit outright money and spent it all within a year and a half. So maybe outright distributions might not be the right thing for you, but we need to talk about it, right? We need to actually explore why that's not the right thing for your family. Guardianships, who's going to take care of your child if you're not here? You know, do you have multiple family members who would want to be responsible and take care of the kids? Let's talk about those people, their finances. What are they like? You know, are they really the people that should be taking care of your children? And you've heard me talk about, like, you know, who's going to manage your affairs. The list goes on and on. I can literally stand here and I do this for about an hour and a half where we go through this simple estate that came in, this simple situation where we really dive in. And by the end of it, the clients realize why they would not have been able to do this themselves. And if they had taken the DIY route, that the estate plan that they would have come up with would not actually meet their needs. You know, so this really is the reason why I wanted to point this out is the first thing, the idea that you have a simple estate and therefore can do it yourself, that you will determine on your own what type of vehicle that you need to do this. I have people come in and they say, all I need is a simple will. And then we do this analysis and they realize that the will not actually accomplish what they hope to accomplish. And then we end up doing a trust, right? So unless there's the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. And that's why you need someone who does this day in, day out to help you figure out what you don't know and to help you create the best plan that is going to achieve your goals that you have for your family and protect your family, protect that relationship, protect those assets, protect the goals and dreams that you have for your family. That is what I do. And that is what a lot of estate planners out there, that is what we do day in, day out. And that is why the DIY route is not always, and more often than not, definitely not the right way to go. On top of that, I have people like say, okay, they look at their family situation and they look at their friends or their neighbor's family situation, and the neighbor on surface looks like them. You know, how many people do I know who are married with two kids, and their ideas, I want my child to inherit. I, Tons of people are coming in with just that. They look the same, but the details will make a difference because everyone's details are different. Yes, your surface may look the same, your details may be different. So, what worked for one person may not work for you. Therefore, don't look at what your neighbor did and assume that you want to do the same thing and that it's going to work for you because your neighbor has different goals than you. Your neighbor has different assets than you. Your neighbor has different liabilities than you. Your neighbor has different situations than you. Therefore, your neighbor's plan is not going to look like yours. It may, but most likely it won't. So hopefully, this helps you guys realize why the go it alone situation with estate planning is not smart, and will encourage you to take the steps to reach out to an attorney and start the process of estate planning, and also help you realize why it is important to do this. Because just in these maybe 15 minutes I've stood there, I've like went through and showed you just a small fraction of what we talk about during a consultation and the kind of things that we are trying to work to protect against. So therefore, without an estate plan, all of those things, if there's debt, all of those things become problems that your family has to figure out how to handle when you're not there to help them do it. So estate planning helps you help them. And I always like to think of it as the gift that you give to your family when you're no longer around to continue giving gifts to them. So like I said, hopefully that was helpful for you guys as you are starting on or thinking about starting on your estate planning journeys. And that you will actually go ahead and try to make that spiced peach daiquiri. Like I said, it is delicious. I'm gonna have a little sip after this. You guys enjoy your Friday. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Rum Shop Talk, where we are rumming and we are learning about estate planning. Bye, everyone.